little known to everybody else. The Russians were starting a little drive of their own, and it appeared that they were heading towards where our camp was, and the thought was that maybe they would rescue us. Well, I'm not sure at that point whether we wanted the Russians to rescue us or not, but nevertheless, that's what it looked like. And the Germans decided they're going to move us to another camp. So, in this dreadful weather, the worst the Germans had seen in decades, we were moved out at night in the middle of all the snow and ice, and it was just terrible. And we kept moving and kept moving and kept moving. They would let us rest 5 minutes out of each hour. So after 77 hours, we finally got to a little village, and it was dawn. We had left many prisoners behind. You know, we had poor clothing, poor shoes, very little that we could eat, no water, and a lot of guys just didn't make it. I have never seen any figures to explain how many didn't, but they didn't, I know. They stopped us in this village with the idea of finding a place to put us up over, so we could rest. I was standing on this little bridge over a stream at the edge of town, and the guy next to me, just to show you how far you can go, he said, "I've had it." He jumped over the rail of the bridge, went through the ice head first, never saw him again. Well, we didn't have too much time to think about that. I never even knew who he was. We were all dressed up against the cold. It looked like something out of George Washington's time near Philadelphia. Oh boy, my memories tonight. Stay away from altitude, if you're like me. Normally I can remember things. Thank you. It was the... now I forgot already. All right, let's forget it. We'll go... We look bad. Will that suffice? So, we're standing there while the Germans are looking for a place to put us. And some woman, German woman, second floor, stuck her head out the window, and guys were dropping all around. They just gave up and fell flat on the ground. She said, "You can bring in some of those wounded." I thought I had it. I thought I couldn't lift myself another minute. You know what I did? I can't to this day believe it, but it shows what a person can really do if they want to and have the opportunity. I picked up one of those guys bodily, carried him up the stairs, and deposited him in the hall. I went down and I got another and another. It's unbelievable what you can do. You don't even realize it until it has to happen. And it happened, believe me. At any rate, they found a factory they could put us in, and we stayed there a couple of days, and then they put us on the old 40 and 8s from World War I, 40 men or 8 horses. I think we were the horses. They put about 50 of us in there and hauled us around for a couple of days to another camp. Okay, that's enough of that horror story. Now we get back to a more humorous story about prison camp. Later in the spring, the camp to which we had been moved, they decided to move us again because it was being threatened by a thrust from Patton's group that they might rescue us. So Germans decided to march us out of there. Now I have to explain a little bit first about the survival feelings of a Kriegi, a prisoner of war. As little as we had to eat, wherever there was anything that would not spoil right away, we would try and keep a little and hoard it for the case where we might have the opportunity to trade with the Germans for food or whatever. So, we're on this march in the spring. This one fellow from my room was from Bloomington, Illinois. He was a farm boy. He had grown up on eggs and milk and ham and, all the stuff that the farmers were able to enjoy, even though it was depression. And all the time he was in camp, he just kept, I want a fresh egg, and I'm going to get one. So he saved cocoa, which was a very high order by the Germans, and he saved this for his trip. So the first night out, on foot as usual, they put us into a park, which had a high iron fence around it. And they put soldiers around there, and we were trapped inside. Well, now I know what animals in the zoo feel like. The natives came out in force and walked around the perimeter looking at us, Kriegsgefangenen, and we, of course, were looking at them too. At any rate, this fellow with the chocolate, he was going around the fence asking if anybody had an egg they would trade for chocolate. He finally found a young woman who agreed, except she wanted a full tin, not 2/3 of a tin. He says, you go get the egg, I'll get the chocolate, the cocoa. So she left. He took some of the dirty sand and mixed it in with the cocoa, and it looked just like cocoa. He made the deal through the fence. She got the cocoa, he got the egg. He packed it very safely in toilet paper, which is the only thing we had plenty of. You couldn't eat it. So he packed it up so he could carry it to the next point where he had an opportunity to cook it. A couple of days later, this opportunity arose. We were near a wood, and he got some sticks, and he started a fire, and pretty soon the rest of the camp knew what he was doing, and they gathered around him like a bunch of hawks over a dead lion or something, And he put everything together. He got out his little frying pan, which he had previously made out of a tin can, and he got that heated up, and he was like a French chef, he's working with his egg. Excuse me. So everything came together. He tapped the egg on something lightly, and it didn't break. He tapped it a little harder, and it didn't break. And then he tapped the hell out of it, and it still didn't break. Here, for his can of sand, he got a